I, 38M, never imagined I would be sharing something like this on Reddit, but I need to get this off my chest. My entire world came crashing down during what should have been a normal Thanksgiving dinner when my wife, 32F, confessed something that has completely shattered our marriage of 6 months. I met Kylie 5 years ago through mutual friends at a local pub. I was 33 at the time, focused on my career as a software developer, and wasn't really looking for a relationship. But Kylie changed all that. She was 27, working as a kindergarten teacher, and had this infectious laugh that could light up any room. We clicked instantly over our shared love of true crime documentaries and bad horror movies. Kylie came from a close-knit family. She had an older sister, Dahlia, who was married to Mike, a real estate agent. I remember clearly the first time I met them. It was at a family barbecue about 3 months into dating Kylie. Dahlia and Mike seemed like the perfect couple. They had been married for 8 years at that point and everyone in the family looked up to their relationship. Mike and I got along well, often going golfing together or watching sports at local bars. I considered him not just a brother-in-law but a genuine friend. Our relationship progressed naturally. Kylie moved in with me after a year of dating, and we got engaged 3 years later. The proposal was at her parents' lake house, with both our families present. Everyone was thrilled, especially Dahlia, who immediately started helping with wedding plans. Kylie and Dahlia were extremely close, talking multiple times a day and sharing everything with each other. Or at least that's what I thought. The wedding preparations went smoothly. Kylie wanted a destination wedding in Hawaii, but we decided to keep it local to accommodate our elderly relatives. We did agree to have separate bachelor and bachelorette parties in Vegas, as it was closer and more affordable. Kylie went with Dahlia, their cousins, and some friends from work. My bachelor party was planned for the same weekend, and Mike was supposed to be there, but he called the morning of the flight claiming he had food poisoning. The wedding itself was perfect. Kylie looked beautiful walking down the aisle, and I remember thinking how lucky I was. Mike gave a heartfelt speech at the reception about welcoming me to the family. Looking back now, I feel sick thinking about how fake everything was. The first few months of marriage were great. We moved into a bigger house, started talking about having kids, and everything seemed perfect. Kylie and I both wanted 2 children, and we had even started discussing names. We were planning to start trying after the new year. Then came Thanksgiving. We were hosting this year, our first major holiday as a married couple. Kylie had been acting strange for weeks leading up to it. Initially, I attributed it to the stress of hosting. She wanted everything to be perfect. But there was something off about her behavior, especially whenever Dahlia and Mike's visit was mentioned. During dinner, I noticed the tension between Dahlia and Mike. They barely spoke to each other, and when they did, it was cold and formal, very unlike their usual loving interactions. Kylie kept giving them worried glances throughout the meal, and her hands were shaking while serving dessert. Dahlia left the table twice to make phone calls, and I overheard her crying in the bathroom at one point. After everyone left, I found Kylie in our bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed staring at her phone. When I asked her what was wrong, she started crying. Through her sobs, she explained that Dahlia and Mike were having problems because of something that came out in their couples therapy. My stomach dropped when she added that it involved her. I sat down next to her, my mind already racing with possibilities, none of them good. She refused to look at me as she spoke. She said it happened at her bachelorette party, but claimed she didn't remember much because she was drinking heavily. When I pressed for details, she admitted to kissing Mike that night, but insisted that's all that happened. The timeline suddenly clicked in my head. Mike's mysterious illness during my bachelor party wasn't food poisoning at all. He had planned to be in Vegas with Kylie. I felt physically ill as more questions flooded my mind. How long had this been going on? Was the kiss really all that happened? Why confess now, after 6 months of marriage? Kylie kept repeating that she was drunk and it meant nothing, but something about her story didn't add up. She seemed more concerned about Dahlia finding out the full truth than about how this affected our marriage. When I pointed this out, she broke down completely and admitted there was more to the story, but she couldn't remember all the details. I couldn't stay in that house another minute. I grabbed my keys and wallet, ignoring her pleas to stay and talk it through. I've been sitting in my office parking lot for the past 2 hours, trying to make sense of everything. My phone keeps buzzing with texts and calls from Kylie, but I can't bring myself to respond. The woman I trusted most in this world, the person I planned to have children with, betrayed me with her own sister's husband. Every memory of our wedding day now feels tainted. Every family gathering we've had since then feels like a lie. How do I face any of them again? I keep thinking about Mike's speech at our wedding, about how he welcomed me to the family while knowing what he'd done. I think about all the times we hung out after that, how he looked me in the eye and acted like everything was normal. Did anyone else know? Was I the only one being fooled all this time? I honestly don't know what to do now. Do I confront Mike? Should I tell Dahlia what I suspect about there being more to the story? Is there any coming back from this kind of betrayal? Part of me wants to just pack a bag and disappear for a while, but I know that won't solve anything. I need advice on how to handle this situation without completely losing my mind. Update 1: after my last post, my world has only gotten more chaotic. I spent that first night in a hotel downtown, unable to face going home. Over the next few days, I stayed with my friend Tom, who offered his spare room while I figured things out. Kylie kept trying to contact me, sending endless texts about how sorry she was and how we could work through this. I blocked her number after the third day. I spent those first few days in a daze, barely eating or sleeping. Tom was worried enough that he took time off work to make sure I wasn't alone. I'm grateful for his support because what happened next would have been impossible to handle on my own. 4 days after Thanksgiving, I received a call from Dahlia. Her voice was shaking as she asked if we could meet. She said there were things I needed to know, things Kylie hadn't told me. We agreed to meet at a small coffee shop across town where we wouldn't run into anyone we knew. When I saw Dahlia, I barely recognized her. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, her eyes red from crying. She brought her laptop with her, and what she showed me turned my stomach. Dahlia had found text messages between Kylie and Mike dating back to January of this year, almost 10 months ago. Way before the bachelorette party, before our wedding, before everything. The messages started innocently enough, casual conversations about family events and wedding planning. But by March, they had turned flirtatious. By April, they were explicit. They had been meeting secretly whenever they could, usually when Dahlia was at her yoga classes or when I was traveling for work. They had created a shared Instagram account to communicate, thinking no one would ever find it. Dahlia found all this because Mike had accidentally left his old phone unlocked. She discovered years of deleted messages that had been backed up to his cloud storage. Some of the messages made me physically sick. Kylie and Mike had been planning their Vegas meetup weeks in advance. The bachelorette party wasn't a drunken mistake, it was a carefully orchestrated rendezvous. But the worst part wasn't the affair itself. It was their plans for the future. They had discussed running away together after my wedding to Kylie. They had even looked at houses in another state. The only reason it didn't happen was that Mike got cold feet at the last minute. He wasn't willing to leave his job and the life he had built. Kylie was ready to leave me, to throw away our marriage before it even began. I was just her backup plan. Dahlia showed me screenshots of conversations where Kylie begged Mike to follow through with their plan. In one message, just 2 days before our wedding, she wrote about how she would rather be marrying him. She only went through with our wedding because Mike wouldn't commit to leaving Dahlia. After Dahlia left the coffee shop, I drove to Kylie's workplace. I needed to confront her with what I had learned. I found her in her classroom after the kids had left. When I showed her the screenshots Dahlia had sent me, she turned pale. She tried to deny it at first, claiming the messages were fake, but her excuses quickly crumbled. She finally admitted everything. Through tears, she told me how she and Mike had grown close while planning wedding events. How one thing led to another, and before they knew it, they were in too deep. She claimed she had genuine feelings for Mike but chose to stay with me because she thought it was the right thing to do after he backed out of their plans. The next revelation came from one of Kylie's bridesmaids, Kelly. She reached out to me after hearing about the situation from mutual friends. Kelly confessed that she and several others had seen Kylie and Mike together multiple times before the wedding. They had chosen to stay quiet to avoid causing drama. Kelly had even caught them kissing at our engagement party but convinced herself it was nothing serious. Kylie's parents called me that evening. Instead of apologizing for their daughter's behavior, they suggested I should try to save the marriage. Her father actually had the audacity to say that since nothing physical happened before the bachelorette party, as far as they knew, it wasn't technically cheating during our relationship. Her mother kept talking about how couples can grow stronger through adversity. I hung up on them mid-sentence. I spent that night going through old photos and messages on my phone, looking for signs I might have missed. There were so many: the way Kylie always volunteered to handle wedding planning meetings with Mike, the sudden increase in yoga classes she started taking, probably when she was meeting him, the passwords changed on her phone, the mysterious work events that ran late. I had been completely blind to it all. The next day, I contacted a divorce lawyer. I'm not interested in saving this marriage. How can I stay with someone who was planning to abandon me even as she walked down the aisle? Someone who only stayed because her lover wouldn't commit? Kylie's been sending messages through friends, claiming she'll do anything to fix this, but there's nothing left to fix. Our entire relationship was built on lies. I'm moving out of our house next week. I've found a small apartment across town, and Tom is helping me move. Kylie doesn't know where I'll be living, and I want to keep it that way. The divorce papers will be ready soon, and then I can start picking up the pieces of my life. Dahlia and I have been supporting each other through this nightmare. We're both seeing our own lawyers and planning to file for divorce. It's ironic how the two people we trusted most brought us closer together through their betrayal. Update: 2 things have taken an even darker turn since my last update. After I filed for divorce, Kylie didn't contest it. I thought maybe she had accepted that our marriage was over and we could at least have a clean break. I was wrong. Last week, I received an anonymous email with the subject line "Thought you should see this." The sender claimed to be one of the guests at the bachelorette party who felt guilty about staying quiet all this time. Attached were several video clips from that weekend in Vegas, and what I saw made me physically ill. The videos showed Kylie and Mike together throughout the entire weekend, not just one night. They weren't trying to hide their relationship at all. The first video was from the hotel lobby, where they were making out against a wall like teenagers. Another showed them dancing intimately at a club, with Mike's hands all over her while Dahlia was clearly visible in the background, distracted by other friends. The most disturbing video was from a private cabana by the hotel pool. Kylie was sitting on Mike's lap, and they were talking about their future plans. They were both drunk but coherent enough to laugh about how stupid Dahlia and I were for not figuring out their relationship. Kylie joked about how I actually believed Mike was sick during my bachelor party, and they both found it hilarious. There was also footage from the hotel hallway leading to Kylie's room. Mike had her pressed against the door, and they were talking about how they needed to be careful not to get caught. Kylie was wearing her bride-to-be sash in this video, which made it even more sickening. The timestamp showed this was just 5 days before our wedding. I forwarded these videos to Dahlia. She called me an hour later, sobbing. She recognized some of her friends in the background of these videos, people who had been in her life for years. None of them had ever told her what they saw. They all kept quiet and let her live in ignorance while her husband and sister betrayed her. Dahlia confronted some of these friends. 2 of them admitted they saw Kylie and Mike together multiple times that weekend but didn't say anything because they didn't want to ruin Kylie's wedding. One friend even confessed that Kylie had asked her to help cover for them, making sure Dahlia was distracted while they snuck off together. Mike's response to these videos being exposed was pathetic. He tried to claim that Kylie had seduced him, that he was drunk and vulnerable because he was having problems with Dahlia. But the videos clearly showed their mutual involvement and how they had planned everything in advance. His own voice was recorded talking about their ongoing affair and future plans. The videos have caused a huge rift in both families. Kylie's parents, who had been pressuring me to reconcile with her, finally stopped contacting me. I heard from Tom that they're devastated by the evidence of their daughter's behavior. Dahlia's parents are supporting her but are struggling to process Kylie's betrayal of her own sister. Some family members are still trying to minimize what happened. Kylie's aunt suggested that since they're not blood relatives, the affair wasn't as bad as it could have been. Mike's brother tried to blame it on alcohol and Vegas culture. It's amazing how people can try to justify such a betrayal. The most recent development is that Mike moved out of his house with Dahlia and is now living with Kylie. They're finally together, but the cost has been enormous. They've lost their marriages, their family relationships, and most of their friends. Several of Mike's clients have dropped him after hearing about the scandal, and Kylie's school principal has warned her about her position after some parents complained about her moral character. I met with my lawyer yesterday to discuss the divorce proceedings. With the video evidence, there's no way Kylie can claim any moral high ground. Her attempts to paint herself as the victim of a momentary lapse in judgment have completely failed. My lawyer is confident we can get a favorable settlement. Dahlia and I have both been focused on moving forward. We've been meeting regularly for coffee, supporting each other through the divorce processes. It's strange how this betrayal has led to a genuine friendship between us. We're the only ones who truly understand what the other is going through. The hardest part now is dealing with mutual friends who try to stay neutral. Some have suggested that since Kylie and Mike are together now, maybe it was meant to be and we should all move on. They don't understand that this isn't about them ending up together, it's about the months of lies, the deliberate betrayal, and the complete disregard for the pain they caused. Update 3: It's been half a year since my world turned upside down, and I finally feel ready to share this final update. The divorce was finalized last month, and I've moved to a different city for a fresh start. The change has been good for me: new job, new apartment, new life. The aftermath of Kylie and Mike's affair continues to ripple through both families. Their relationship crashed and burned spectacularly after 3 months of living together. According to mutual friends, reality hit hard once they had to deal with normal life instead of secret meetups and stolen moments. They discovered that their passionate affair didn't translate well into everyday life. Mike lost several major clients after the scandal, and his real estate business took a serious hit. Kylie was asked to resign from her teaching position when more parents complained about her moral character. They struggled financially, leading to constant arguments. The fantasy they built around their relationship crumbled when faced with real-world consequences. Kylie tried to contact me about 2 months ago. She showed up at my parents' house, knowing they might tell her where I moved. She was crying about making the biggest mistake of her life and wanting another chance. She claimed that living with Mike made her realize what she had thrown away with me. My parents told her to leave and threatened to call the police. I've since blocked her on every possible platform. Dahlia has become one of my closest friends through all this. We've helped each other navigate the pain and betrayal, sharing insights from our respective therapy sessions. She's thriving now. She got a promotion at work, started traveling, and recently began dating someone new. She's shown me that there's life after betrayal. The family dynamics have shifted significantly. Kylie and Dahlia's parents finally stopped trying to mediate the situation after the Vegas videos surfaced. They've essentially lost one daughter, as Dahlia refuses to attend any family event where Kylie might be present. Their once close-knit family has permanently fractured. Mike moved back to his hometown after things ended with Kylie. He tried to reconcile with Dahlia, sending lengthy emails about how Kylie had manipulated him and how he regretted everything. Dahlia forwarded these to her lawyer and never responded. Last I heard, he's living with his parents and trying to rebuild his real estate business in a new city. I've started dating again, taking things very slowly. My new job keeps me busy, and I've made some good friends in my new city. The experience taught me valuable lessons about trust and self-respect. While the betrayal still hurts sometimes, especially when memories pop up unexpectedly, I'm grateful it happened when it did rather than years down the line with kids involved. Some mutual friends still try to update me about Kylie. Apparently, she's struggling to date because the story of our divorce spread through our social circle. No one wants to get involved with someone who cheated with their sister's husband. She's also had trouble finding another teaching job in the area due to her reputation. The most recent development is that Kylie and Mike briefly tried to rekindle their relationship last month. It lasted exactly 2 weeks before imploding again. They discovered that their great love was built entirely on the thrill of sneaking around and betraying their spouses. Without that excitement, they had nothing in common. Looking back, I'm proud of how I handled everything. I didn't let anyone pressure me into reconciliation. I stood my ground, protected myself legally, and moved forward with dignity. For anyone going through something similar, remember that you deserve better than someone who makes you their second choice. The experience changed me, but not in the way Kylie and Mike's actions intended. Instead of breaking me, their betrayal made me stronger. I'm looking forward to the future now, grateful that I discovered their true characters before having children or building more of a life with Kylie. Sometimes losing someone who doesn't respect you is the best thing that can happen.